The courtroom gets heated.
To be honest with you, pretty.
Sir, we are not in the club or a bar. Talk about your case.
And tempers flare.
I said, you took the car? So I look out the window. I said, you gotta be kidding me. I said, you on your own.
Until Judge Faith cools her courtroom down.
Time out. We gotta take a time out.
And later, these MMA fans trusted their favorite fighter to play fair when they sold him a very valuable decal cutter.
And when I went to his house, he came out and greeted me, gave me a hug, say, "What's up, bro?" And I'm like, "Hey, I'm here to get my money."
He's lucky I'm a registered fighter, leave the weapon in the cage, and I can't do anything to him.
And now they've taken their showdown out of the cage and into court.
You just said you're grown men here, but grown men take care of their responsibilities and pay when they say they're going to pay someone. That's all I'm saying.
Faith Jenkins. Her distinguished legal career began when she graduated first in her law school class. She quickly became a tough New York City prosecutor, and then a preeminent legal analyst on cable news. And now she's the judge in her own courtroom. Her cases are real, and her rulings are final. She is Judge Faith. Plaintiff Corey King says his former mentor tried to squeeze him out of hard-earned cash by selling him a lemon. He's suing for a refund on the car and lost wages. Defendant Morris Crute says he told Corey about the condition of the car, but that didn't stop the plaintiff from snatching the ride out of his front yard. He's countersuing for damages to a fence.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, this is King versus Crute.
Thank you, Barbara. Mr. King, you claim your former friend sold you a car that doesn't work. You're suing him for $2,940 for the value of the car and other fees incurred as a result. Mr. Crute, you're saying you shouldn't have to pay the plaintiff anything because you sold the car as is. You state the defendant damaged your fence and that he's the one who owes you. You are countersuing him for $430. All right, Mr. King, how do you know the defendant?
You much prettier in person, to be honest with you, pretty.
Sir, we are not in the club or a bar. Talk about your case.
That's cool, that's cool.
All right.
Anyway, I met old school in November, the defendant, in November 2013, where I worked at LA Fitness. It's a gym we go to, and we just talked, you know, he kind of schooled me sometimes, so I call him old school. And around December 2013, I was having car issues. And he told me he was selling the car for $800 and only had 38,000 miles and all it needed was spark plugs. So
that sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, great deal. I had to snatch that. I said, I got to get it. I was having car trouble.
You did snatch it.
So,
you didn't stole it.
Nah, whatever, man.
Hold on a second.
But anyway, so I told him, yeah, I'm gonna give you a down payment on it just to hold the car because he was going around bragging, I got this car for $800. He got it from some dead lady he lived. You know, he's going around the whole gym just, you know, so I'm like, just be cool. I'm gonna get it from you. I need it. So I gave him $500 to hold it. And he held it.
Did you guys actually enter into a written agreement?
Yeah,
about the car?
Yeah, we signed I made him sign a promissory note.
Okay, do you have a copy of that?
Yeah, I got a copy of that.
Let me see that. So you agreed to buy the car for $800
Correct.
From him. All right, and this is the original agreement?
Yep.
All right. Oh, okay. This how y'all do things in the Bronx, huh?
He did that. He wrote that up.
This is actually good because it has the date, the terms, and the amount that you put down, and that you're going to hold the car until he pays you the remainder.
Right.
Okay, so did you eventually go pick up the car?
He took me to his house that day after we started playing basketball, and I went over there and got it.
And what happened after you got the car?
2 minutes from leaving his house, it stalled out on me on the side of the highway.
Okay, let's take a look at the car. Okay, and what happens when the car stalls on the highway?
It stalled out, so I'm sitting in the car, I tried to crank it up probably about 3 times. The third time, it wouldn't even the starter wouldn't do nothing, it just was like dead.
There's a presumption that when you buy a car, it's as is. He didn't make any warranties to you about the performance of the car, right?
Okay, that's all right.
No, what happened is you saw a car, it was low mileage, it was $800, you decided to take a chance.
All right, yeah.
He stole it.
It looked like a whip to you.
Can I say something? Please let me say
Yes,
something.
please. Tell me what happened.
I treated the guy like a son. I had him at my house.
He was fake.
Look,
he was fake.
I took him to my house.
You about as fake as these females out here. No disrespect to you, but you was being fake, man.
Look, I brung him before the car even got involved. When I met him at the sports club,
that was a setup.
Before the car was even involved,
it was probably a setup.
I took him home with me, sat him in my house, and fed him dinner. I said, look, I don't eat no red meat.
Hold on a second.
I don't eat no red meat. I'm gonna show you how to eat right. And he started saying, I never eat that. I don't eat that.
I said,
but he said, oh, this is good.
So you were trying to teach him how to be health conscious.
Right. Is this now? Do I sound like a guy trying to rob somebody that I'm gonna bring to my house? Yeah, now, after I got him in my house, you know, it wasn't once, it wasn't twice, 3 or 4 times. So now I wasn't even thinking about selling him no car because I know he didn't have no money. So what I did, he heard me saying to somebody else that they wanted the car. So he walked up to me, yo, I'm going home with you right now. I need a car. So that day he came to my house, drove the car. Me and him drove the car around.
So you test drove the car?
Right. We test drive the car. So he says, I want to get it on the highway. I said, you can't put it on the highway. The car's been sitting for about 5 or 6 years.
Where did you get the car from?
You told me the registration
See that house directly across the street?
You told me the registration. That's why you ain't want to put it on the highway.
That's my driveway.
Hold on a second, sir.
The lady directly across the street in that house across the street, she died. I live on this side. So when they asked me, so the car's been sitting in the garage for 5 years. So after 5 years, they're moving. They asked me to help them move. They give me that car. I go, you got to be kidding me.
Okay.
So when they gave me the car, I drove it right to my yard, right where it's sitting now. I'm watching the football game. I get a phone call. Can you come help me? I said, who is this? This is Corey. I said, where you at? I'm on the highway. I got the car. I said, you took the car? So I look out the window. I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, you on your own. The lady's plate still on the car.
Now he lying, he ain't lying.
I slammed the
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. He already paid for the car. He didn't steal the car. He owned the car. He already paid for it. So what are you upset about?
He took the lady's plates on the car. The dead lady's plates are still on the car.
Time out, guys. Time out. We got to take a time out.
Coming up on Judge Faith, these two kings of New York can't keep calm in court.
Comes over my house with 4 thugs.
Oh, now you dead.
Banging on my door.
I came with my cousin.
But this court is ruled by a queen.
You both want to leave?
And later, Judge Faith steps in the ring to teach these two litigants a lesson on playing fair.
We're full-grown men here. I'm not going to sit here and babysit him. If you want your money, come get it. My daddy done taught me, hey, if you make a deal,
here now. Let's pay him. Let's do it.
You snooze, you lose, right?
Plaintiff Corey King says his former mentor sold him a car that turned out to be a lemon. But defendant Morris Crute claims Corey knew about the condition of the vehicle. He's countersuing for damages to a fence.
Did you give him the title to the car?
There wasn't no title. I gave him the registration to the car.
Okay, why wasn't there a title?
Because the person who gave me the car didn't have the title. They gave me a registration, so I was telling him how he can go register the car. But he wasn't.
He can't register the car without a title.
I found out later on he's really stole the car. Technically, you ain't had no title, but I didn't even know all of this. This is my first.
He can't register the car without a title, so why would you tell him to go and do that?
Well, it's a certain year of a vehicle that you don't need a title to register.
No, sir. No, sir. That's not how it works.
That's what he told me.
That's not how it works.
That's what he told me, and I listened to him because I thought he was school.
I know the law in New York State. You can sell a car as is. That means you don't attest to its drivability, its wearability. You don't attest to how many miles on the car, but you have to have the authority to sell a car, and that means you have to have the title to sell the car. What's your counterclaim about?
Comes over my house with 4 thugs.
Oh, now you dead.
They banging on my door.
I came with my cousin.
They banging on my.
I came with my cousin. I came with my cousin. That's all I came.
I left upstairs in the up in the locker. My folder.
Man, I don't need 4 thugs for you.
With the pictures of them.
I need 4 thugs for you.
Where they tore my fence up.
Stop. I need to hear what he's saying.
Where they kicked my fence down and cursing. And they told me they don't.
Wait, hold on a second. You said the plaintiff came over to your house with 4 thugs. He says cousins. Go ahead.
Cousin.
And they ripped my fence down. Did
you witness that?
No. What?
Did you witness them
I'm looking
ripping
at
your
them.
fence
They
down?
saw me on the phone calling the cops. They said he's calling the cops.
Did the police respond?
Well, yes, they did.
When the police responded, did they write a police report? No.
You just trying to scrape up some money. That's all you trying to do.
Oh, I'm retired.
The bottom line here is this.
I'm a retired worker. 27 years, I'm
ruling.
retired.
Stop
You see how I
talking.
live? Come on,
Stop
man. You see how I
speaking.
get down? You the one
living regular.
Gentlemen.
like I said, I feel sorry for you, man.
Stop. Just stop.
How
Okay.
you living? You living regular.
First of all, you said that you were a mentor to him and that you have invited him over to your house. You've had him over for dinner. You've tried to be a good influence on him. And now you guys are in court acting like this. And I hate to see that because it's really sad. You are a young man, and I understand what you're saying. This is the first time that you've bought a car. He sold you the car as is. That means you accepted the car as is. He made no warranties about how the car would drive and how it would function. Okay? In terms of your counterclaim for damages to your fence, you have not submitted sufficient proof here today. Do not interrupt while I'm ruling. You have not submitted sufficient proof today to show that he's the one that damaged that fence and when it happened. If you wanted proof, if you wanted to submit proof, you would have called the police and kept a police report because you have no evidence that it was him that damaged the fence.
I didn't want to arrest him.
Let me finish. He's not paying for the fence.
He just come from being incarcerated. I did not want to do that to him.
If I had to arrest you, I would have did it. I would have
The issue about the car.
I'm 60 years old. I've never been arrested.
If I kicked your gate down, you should have did it.
Talk to the judge.
I would.
Do you both want to leave?
Don't talk to
Nah,
each
I'm
other.
cool.
Just talk to the judge.
Although you sold the car as is, in your state, you have to have the authority to sell a car, which means you have to have a title to sell a car. And when you have a title, it is presumed you have authority. If you don't have a title, you're coming in here telling me you got this car from your neighbor. For all I know, it could be stolen. I don't know that. So my verdict in this case, you're going to have to pay him $800 for that car, give him a refund, because he can't do anything without a title. A car without a title is a paperweight. It's not a car. He can't do anything with it. $800 verdict for the plaintiff.
You take your stuff and sit down for a minute. Sit down. You go ahead and step out, sir.
Plaintiff Darren Cooney and his wife Connie said they were big fans of the defendant until they sold him a decal cutter and he tried to wall install them out of their final payment. Professional MMA fighter defendant Tim Eastam says he's already paid half and he doesn't owe the rest because the plaintiffs have committed a friendship foul, giving him a decal cutter that doesn't have all its teeth.
Mr. Cooney, you are suing your former friend, the defendant, for $375 for the remaining balance on a decal cutter you say you sold to him. Mr. Eastam, you say the deal was incomplete, so you owe the plaintiff nothing. I'll hear from you first, Mr. Cooney. What's going on?
Mr. Eastam and I met at a sports bar because my wife and I are big MMA fans.
Okay, what is MMA?
Mixed martial arts.
Can you just explain to me? I have no idea
Mixed martial arts
about MMA.
is Muay Thai, grappling, wrestling, any kind of martial art, and it's all mixed. You're locked in a cage, and you get to beat the crap out of each other.
Oh, okay. So that's why I don't watch it. All right. All right.
And we were watching the fight. And
Is this your wife?
Yes, my
Okay.
wife Connie. And we were watching the fights, and Tim approached us and said that he was an up-and-coming fighter. And we attended one of his fights. We were hooked because it was live action.
Oh, I think we have some video of you
Yes.
actually fighting, right? So let's look at that.
I'm the one beating the crap out of the guy on the bottom. Right here,
Ow.
he actually had me in a guillotine locked in. I picked him up and walked him across the cage and
Why
slammed him.
why does one get involved in something like this? It looks like
it's my happy
it
medium, Your
hurts.
Honor. It's my
Okay.
escape. It's my happy place, you know. If not, I'll be doing it on the streets, you know. And I get in trouble doing it that. So if I do it this way, then it's sanctioned, and you actually get popular this way.
How
It's
long
kinda
have you
crazy.
been doing this?
I've been doing it for about 6 years. I've wrestled my whole life.
Okay.
I wrestled for about 25 years, and I've been doing this for about 6 years now.
Have you ever had any serious injuries?
Oh yeah,
as a result of
My
fights?
hands are a little deformed. I've had cuts, bruises. It's just part of the game.
Do you make a fair amount of money doing this?
Yes, ma'am.
So you get paid for every fight?
I have a clothing line too with it, so I've just I've kind of transitioned that into making money too, and then now I'm a pro, so I make pretty good money at that, and
Okay.
and with my booth and models and all that stuff there, it's enough to make a living, yeah.
All right. Okay, that's interesting.
Coming up on Judge Faith, the rules of court get clarified.
I'm not going to babysit him. We're full-grown men here. Either come get your money or you don't want it.
All right,
He wants
well-
to get it on his own time, and that's that.
When you owe someone money, you can't pick and choose who you want to pay and who gets stiffed
MMA fans Darren Cooney and his wife Connie are suing the defendant for the remaining balance on a decal cutter. Defendant Tim Eastam says they sold him a decal cutter, but not the software to run it, so he's refusing to pay the balance.
Let's get back to the case. You sold the defendant a decal cutter.
Yes.
Did you put the agreement in writing?
No, it was verbal, Your Honor.
And what were the terms of the agreement?
The terms were it was sold for $750, and Tim paid me $375 cash and said that he would have the balance within a couple of weeks after he filled some orders.
But in the meantime, you gave him the decal cutter?
That's correct. I
right.
drove it from my house to his. I set it up for him.
Oh, is this the decal cutter?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so, and what does this do? It makes and cuts decals, and then you can put decals on various, like, posters or T-shirts?
Or cars or...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Store windows for lettering and whatnot. And
Why do you look so, why are you shaking your head?
Because I didn't agree to the agreement with him, with Darren.
Oh, you didn't agree for him to sell the
No.
you didn't get permission to sell the decal cutter?
I did. It was the amount that I sold it for.
Okay, all right.
Because I looked it up on the internet and it was stating if it was sold for $1,800 on Craigslist.
Wow. Well, how much did you pay for it?
It was about $2,800 brand new.
And how long had you had it?
It was used for 4 months and it was in storage.
Wow, it was almost brand new.
Yes.
It was almost brand new, but it was missing the main brain.
I understand why you're upset now.
Yes.
That's a great deal. Is there any particular reason why you sold it to him for $750? You agree that it was $750. That was the price,
yes,
right?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
I
was the
just
reason?
wanted to get, go to a good home and get some use out of it.
You were a fan.
I was a fan,
of
and I
his,
wanted
right?
to
And you
help
wanted
him out,
to
so
help
I
him out. All right.
sold it to him for a very, very fair price.
Okay, and how does the decal cutter work? Do you need any particular software to use it? What do you need?
It needs an operating system and something like CorelDRAW 10 to input your program to tell the cutter what to do.
Okay, and did you sell all of that to him or just the decal cutter
Just
by
the
itself?
decal, it was sold as is.
And that was the agreement between the two of you?
Yes.
No. And you say that wasn't the agreement.
It wasn't the agreement. The agreement was he was supposed to get me the software for it. He never showed up. He disappeared out of the blue. He was gone for like 8 months. I didn't even know where he was. I never did get the software. I had to end up buying the software myself, which was $150 online.
Do you have proof or receipt that you bought the software?
No, it's almost been a year and a half since this happened. So I didn't think none of this was going to happen. He wouldn't show up. I would make appointments with him to pay him. He wouldn't come get his money.
Is that true?
No. He texted me about a month after I sold it and said, hey, I have your money. And I said, I'm out of the country working. I said, when I return stateside, I'll contact you, which I did. And he texted me back and says, I had transmission problems. I can't pay you right now. So I tried calling him on his cell phone, no answer.
One day he shows up at my house unannounced. And you don't show up at my house unannounced. He's lucky I'm a registered fighter, lethal weapon in the cage, and I can't do anything to him because you just don't show up at my house.
That's right, because you don't want to be a lethal weapon in jail.
Exactly.
You be a lethal weapon in the cage, not in prison.
Exactly. So
you keep repeatedly saying that you're going to make these payments. You're
I
going
was
to
going
pay
to,
him.
Your Honor.
But why are you doing that if you say he didn't sell you the complete deal, which was the software and the cutter?
Just trying to be a good person. I believe in karma because I believe in karma. And I was just, the deal was the deal, right?
The deal was...
But see, the deal was he was supposed to have that too, correct?
Did you agree to give him software?
No.
Okay, so there you go. One person's word against another, but I have you saying that you're going to pay him $750. Even, I don't know when the software issue came up. You certainly put it in your papers, but I have you repeatedly agreeing to pay him the complete $750.
Yes,
so
at the beginning.
So your defense here is...
But
your defense here really doesn't make a lot of sense.
But see, here's the thing. I then told him, you know what? I'm a man of my word. If you come back next weekend, I'll start making payments. I'll give you $100 each weekend. We're full-grown men here. I'm not going to sit here and babysit him. If you want your money, come get it. My daddy done taught me, hey, if you make a deal,
now. Let's pay him. Let's do it.
You snooze, you lose, right?
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And now, Judge Faith rules.
When you owe someone money, you can't pick and choose who you want to pay and who gets stiffed and these things. You have to pay them back. You just said you're grown men here, but grown men take care of their responsibilities and pay when they say they're going to pay someone. That's all I'm saying.
Most definitely.
So
If someone
Listen,
says,
I wish
if
you the
someone
best
says they
in
got
your
you
career.
money,
I wish you the
gonna
best
go
in your
get it?
career. If I saw you on the street, we would not be arguing
You got
like
it.
this,
You
right?
got it.
So $375 judgment and verdict is for the plaintiff. Good luck.
Thank you.
A foster father and his estranged daughter are reunited in court.
When she told me that I was the closest thing she had to a father, she walked out of my life a year ago, and I've not seen her or spoken to her since.
He cut me out of his life. I think it has to do with being back with my ex.
There's been one person who has been consistent your entire life, and it's this man who's standing right over here in front of you.
And later, girlfriends let a guy get between them.
Talking to her is like talking to a child, like talking to one of her kids running around the house. She don't listen.
Me and her has been known each other since 2012. I have all these kids by him. She knew about him.
It's not how this is going to work. I know y'all are from Atlanta, but this is not the Real Housewives. We don't just shout things out and argue with each other.
Faith Jenkins. Her distinguished legal career began when she graduated first in her law school class. She quickly became a tough New York City prosecutor and then a preeminent legal analyst on cable news. And now she's the judge in her own courtroom. Her cases are real and her rulings are final. She is Judge Faith. Plaintiff Frank Blattel says he loaned his credit card to his foster daughter to get her car back from the repo man. And now she's refusing to pay him back. He's suing for credit card charges, interest, and late fees. Defendant Jackie Stock says her father is just angry because she reconciled with her estranged husband, and the remaining balance on the loan was a gift.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Blattel versus Stock.
Thank you, Juan. Frank Blattel?
Yes, Your Honor.
You are suing the defendant Jackie Stock for $935 for credit card charges, interest, and late fees?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you tell me what's going on, sir?
She came into my life in 2001. I was dating her mother, and she was just a little girl then, and then something happened. They went out of my life, and then she came into my life again at 2005.
When you say something happened, did you and her mother break up or stop dating?
Yes.
Okay.
And
so how did you then reconnect with her in 2005?
In 2005, I became her foster father.
Her foster father? How old were you?
17.
17? Okay, and what were the circumstances of that?
She didn't have nowhere to go, and her mother was out of the picture, so I just fostered
Took her in? Okay, what happened, Ms. Stahl?
My mom's never really been around, so I knew him. I was comfortable, so I was placed with him.
Okay, how did you find out she was in a foster care?
Through her mother, I believe.
Okay.
And that's when I jumped on the chance because she's like the daughter I never had.
Okay.
But then shortly after becoming her foster parent, she ran off to Arizona and didn't come back till the following year. And when she came back, she was pregnant.
Is that true?
Partially. I was already pregnant when I went to Arizona, and I had my daughter in Arizona, and then moved back to California.
Okay. Did you tell him that you were leaving to go to Arizona?
No, I didn't actually. I
just left?
Took off.
Okay. You could understand why someone would be hurt.
Absolutely.
By you doing that?
Yes.
So what happens? You go back a year later and you call him and you say what to him?
I need to come home.
And what did he say in response to that?
Come home.
So what kind of foster parent was he to you?
He's always been great to me. He's always been a good person to me.
Okay. So how do we end up here? What's going on?
Her car was repossessed because her husband called them. I guess what the story I heard was that her husband called the people at the car lot to have them come and get it because he said it was abandoned and was being vandalized after he scratched some filthy names on the hood and fenders of the car.
So what happened? I mean, he was told a story, but what happened?
He vandalized my vehicle.
How?
He wrote some foul names.
What did he write?
On
and what
the
else?
Whore.
He keyed that in your car?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then he called and had it repossessed.
How was he able to do that? Were you not current on payments?
No, I was, but you can do voluntary repossessions, like a just.
Oh, so he was just being vindictive.
Right, right.
And you call your foster father and ask him for money for what?
It was $750 to get it out of repossession, just with repossession fees and everything.
So you charged that on your credit card? Is that what happened?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. Okay. And what did you do, sir?
I took her to another car lot, and I helped her get into a 2008 Chevy Impala. And
so you have to buy another car in her name that time so it wouldn't happen again.
And I put another $400 on my credit card for insurance for her.
And that was a loan that you agreed to pay back?
The $750?
Both of these items,
Yeah, the
$750
I did actually. I made payments on it for quite a while.
And did you have a conversation with her about this? How did we end up in court today?
Because when she told me that I was the closest thing she had to a father figure, she walked out of my life a year ago, and I've not seen her or spoken to her since today.
So today's your first time seeing her in a year?
Yes.
Well, what happened?
Well, he cut me out of his life. He wouldn't even answer my calls.
Why is that?
I think it has to do with being back with my ex.
Is that true?
Actually, she never made any attempt to get in contact with me at all in a year. The only way I got their phone number is her husband called my house last week and cussed me out for suing him.
I called his cell phone. I wrote over Facebook to his caregiver, and it was, I don't want to talk to you. Don't contact me.
Coming up, Faith helps heal the hurt.
What are you upset about right now?
Him.
Why? This is your moment. You haven't seen him in a year. This is your moment to talk to him.
And later, a battle over a boy.
He slick moved in.
Okay, what does that mean?
Here come days, leave days, come days, leave days.
And then one day he just never left.
Plaintiff Frank Blattel says his foster daughter's refusing to pay him back. He's suing for credit card charges, interest, and late fees. Defendant Jackie Stock says she doesn't owe because the remaining loan balance was a gift.
Do you love your father?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can understand that this is someone who was there for you when you needed, when no one else was, right? There's been one person who has been consistent your entire life, and it's this man who's standing right over here in front of you. And so you can understand why when he sees that you are being abused, when you go back to that person who he's trying to protect you from, it looks like you're making a choice, and you know he's not going to approve. You know that.
Right, but it's not for him to approve of. It's my life.
Right. It is your life, but every time you've had an issue and you've needed someone to bail you out in your life, you've called him. I'm just trying to help you see the perspective of a father and his perspective in this situation, looking at you and being upset because he thinks that you deserve better. He knows you deserve better. He wants you to see that for yourself.
Okay. I mean, I'm happy with my situation right now.
What is the situation right now?
Counseling, things like that. Doing good.
Okay. Why haven't you paid him back the $866 he says you owe?
Because I don't feel like I owe that much, one. And two, I was let go from my job.
Mm-hmm.
So
you didn't have the money? What are you upset about right now?
Him.
Why? This is your moment. You haven't seen him in a year. This is your moment to talk to him.
I just want to fix our relationship.
How are you going to do that?
I don't know.
Is there a way that can happen?
Not right now.
Why is that, sir?
Because I'm so hurt for not being able to speak to her for over a year. Just walked out of my life, and like I said, no phone calls, nothing for a year. And then I have to do this. I have to bring her to court to even see her. It hurts.
But this court case, this case will clear the air in terms of what she owes you.
Correct.
But, and she's disappeared before. for a year. You see her now, and you see the look on her face. She has some regrets. She may not say it, but you can tell. She's not proud of some of the decisions that she's made. She's hurting too. You understand?
Yes.
And you've known her since she was 17 years old. She's now 28 years old. I would hate to see the two of you walk out of this courtroom today and not be able to have some kind of relationship.
I believe I could, but I don't believe her husband will allow it.
Yeah. And that could very well be the case, given the fact that when he did the things that he did, you were the person that helped her. And you should not be forced to choose between your husband and the person who's been the father in your life. You don't have to choose. And if someone is making you choose, then you aren't making the decisions for your life as you say you are. Because it appears to me you're making a choice.
See, but that's what I feel like he was trying to do. Because he didn't want me back with my husband. So he was trying to make me choose, and then he cut me off.
Because he sees the situation objectively. You were not looking at it from an objective perspective because there were a lot of emotions involved. You were too close to the situation. He's looking at it like many parents do. There's a reason in most cases when a parent doesn't like someone's significant other, there's usually a reason. This is not someone he wants you to be with. Unless that person has gotten help and has changed, he's a vindictive, immature, petty, abusive individual. People are going to come in and out of your life moving forward for various reasons. But if it's one thing about family, when they truly love each other and they truly care about each other, they're there no matter what. And all I'm saying to you is the one constant I've heard in your life since you were 17 years old is this person right over here. That is not a bridge that you want to burn. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff, $935. Good luck to both of you.
Love you.
I love you too, Jackie. I always have.
I'm sorry.
I know you are.
Plaintiff Catherine Sanders says her former BFF used bogus credit cards to pay the utilities on their apartment, and now they've been evicted. She's suing for unpaid rent and a broken TV. Defendant Monique Robinson says she owes nothing because the bill split was not fair since Catherine had 4 kids and a boyfriend in the house.
Catherine Sanders?
Yes, how you doing?
Good. You are suing the defendant Monique Robinson?
Hi, how you doing?
Good. For $3,050 for unpaid rent, 3 months of unpaid rent and a broken television?
Yes.
So the two of you talked about getting an apartment together.
Yeah, it was a townhouse.
Okay. And so you move in. Is it just the two of you?
I have 4 children.
Okay, so it was you, your 4 children, and the defendant?
Yes.
Okay. Who else? So that's it.
I had a male friend, but it would just be me and her paying the rent.
Is your male friend your boyfriend? You mean your boyfriend?
My kid's father.
Okay. Why do you have an agreement with your boyfriend, the father of your 4 children, that he does not have to contribute to the rent where you live?
He would give me money on the rent, but it was me and her. My half would be, would he give me some money, I put my money together, and she would put her money together also.
Well, so the rent wasn't 50-50, I'm assuming.
Between me and her it was.
So you, with 6 on your side and 1 of her, the rent is 50-50?
Yes.
And you agreed to this?
No, the agreement was that it was just supposed to be me, her, and the kids, and it was supposed to be $800 apiece.
Who's on the lease?
Me and my male friend, the father of my kids.
Who's not paying rent? The 2 of you are on the lease?
Yes.
And not her?
Her credit wouldn't got approved.
But she's responsible for half of the rent.
Yes.
And he's not responsible for any. That's what you're telling me?
He give me money on the rent just like me and his money get put together.
Why are you suing her? The reason
why I'm suing her is because she didn't pay her half of the rent.
So you didn't have a problem with 6 people, even 5, Now there's 6 people on her side and there being only one of you?
I had a problem with 6. I didn't have a problem with 5, being that the kids were like my god kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that we all worked together. Like, and I always
when did
had
you
the
find
kids.
out that the boyfriend, because he's on the lease?
Like, I didn't know he was on the lease at first.
When did you find that out?
The next month, like April.
Was he living there in March?
He slick moved in.
Okay, what does that mean?
Like, he
just
moved
showed
in
up
on the
one
slide,
night and
like,
never left?
Yeah.
Basically.
She's saying like he'll come
like he'll
here
come,
and there, come days, leave days, come days, leave days.
And then one day
so.
he just never left. Did she ever come to you and say, boyfriend is living here now, this rent should be split 3 ways, I don't feel that this is fair?
No, she never came, she never came to me about that. Never came
Never
to me
had a
about
conversation
that.
about it. You say no.
She never came to me about anything.
But did you, at some point you realized that it's not how this is going to work? I know y'all are from Atlanta, but this is not the Real Housewives. We don't just shout things out and argue with each other.
Coming up on Judge Faith, the ladies lose their apartment.
So you think she was trying to sneak move out?
She was trying to sneak and get her things to leave.
How do you know that? What did you see?
She was trying to get her things to leave. She had a big truck outside and everything trying to leave.
You didn't tell her you were bringing a truck to move out?
Plaintiff Catherine Sanders says she was evicted because Monique stopped paying the rent. She's suing for unpaid rent and a broken TV. Defendant Monique Robinson says she owes nothing because the bill split was unfair.
So when did you first find out that she was not paying rent?
They sent me a notice in my door.
An eviction notice?
Yes, saying that I had to either pay all the money or get ready to go to court.
Okay, and had you not had a conversation with her prior to that you weren't going to pay the rent?
Talking to her is like talking to a child, like talking to one of her kids running around the house. Mm-hmm. Like, she don't listen.
When did you move out?
June.
What happened?
When I got this eviction letter in my door that I had to either pay the rent or get ready to go to court, she came in the house ready to get her things and saying that I was still at the house.
So you think she was trying to sneak move out?
She was trying to sneak and get her things and leave.
How do you know that? What did you see?
Her things. She was trying to get her things to leave. She had a big truck outside and everything trying to leave.
You didn't tell her you were bringing a truck to move out?
No, I didn't tell her at all.
You didn't have the opportunity to tell her that either?
No, I did have the opportunity to tell her. I just didn't tell her.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Because you hadn't paid the rent?
No, I was paying the utility bills. Paying the utility bills was like paying the rent. It was almost $500 water bill.
That's what happens when you move in and you agree to 5 people living in an apartment. They're going to be using the water 5 times as much as you. And you agreed to pay the utilities?
Right, but I didn't think she was just going to let them run the water, play in the water, do what they want to do. She just let them do anything. She don't got no control over them. Nothing.
These are your god kids. You just said these are your god kids.
They are my god kids, but when I used to come to my house, they didn't do that.
You just spoke so lovely of them. But now you're telling me they're just out of control.
They so out of control. She taking pictures with her. Oh, I love
so
you.
here's the issue.
Here's
the issue. One, you have an illegal agreement with her, and you are coming into court and you are asking me to enforce an illegal agreement. The second thing is, you said that she was supposed to be making those payments directly to the landlord, not to you. No, that's what you told me in your statement.
But it fell on me, though.
And that's your problem. That's why you don't enter into illegal contracts.
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And now, Judge Faith rules.
They're not going to go after her because she's nowhere on this lease. They are going to come after you for this rent. You're going to be the one that's responsible. You should have paid rent. You lived there for that time period. You should have paid rent. I know you thought, oh, I'm paying these utilities. They're sky high. However, the problem that you have is you basically deceived the landlord, this company, when you lease this apartment. You essentially deceived them into renting this place to you by allowing them to believe that it would just be you, your boyfriend, and the 4 children. And because of that, you entered into an illegal side agreement with the defendant, which I can't enforce. No judge can enforce an illegal agreement. It's just unconscionable under the law. Judgment in this case is for the defendant.
This all came down for our friendship. Like, our friendship is ruined. Like, we'll never be friends again. Over rent.
I've learned today that don't go by trying to help a friend out. Go through it the right way.
It's a tale of love and lies.
Our relationship obviously started on a lie and ended on one.
I did cheat on my wife, but I would not have finished that 30-year career with somebody. I would have stopped, except for Robin Kranz had sent that email knowing that my wife had the phone.
So you're not. So let me just make sure I understand this. You're blaming her because you got caught.
And later, an engine blown turns into an engine gone.
The parts are inside the car. I told her that
no parts are inside my car, not a radiator or transmission or
in the trunk. Did you look in the trunk?
What's a reasonable amount of time, sir, she should give you to find an engine for her car?
Faith Jenkins. Her distinguished legal career began when she graduated first in her law school class. She quickly became a tough New York City prosecutor and then a preeminent legal analyst on cable news. And now she's the judge in her own courtroom. Her cases are real and her rulings are final. She is Judge Faith. Plaintiff Robin Krantz says her ex-boyfriend was full of lies and deceit and is suing for the return of a personal loan and money spent during their relationship. She is accompanied in court today by her sister, Pam Monroe. Defendant Jim Stallings says the money was a gift and is countersuing for the value of a diamond necklace and paid rent.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, this case is Kranz versus Stallings.
Thank you, Barbara. Robin Krantz?
Yes.
You were suing the defendant Jim Stallings for $6,769 for a personal loan and money you say you spent while you dated the defendant?
Correct.
And you are countersuing, sir, for $6,200?
That is
for
correct.
a diamond cross necklace you gave the plaintiff and also for rent?
That is correct.
Okay, we'll start with you, Ms. Krantz. Tell me how you met Mr. Stallings and when the two of you dated.
I've known him since 8th grade. Met up with him briefly at a 20th class reunion, and then we met up again in April 2011 at my nephew's memorial. We talked about the fact that I was separated, where I was living in Northern California, and he said he traveled a lot, he was a salesman, and he would like to take me to dinner. So that was in April, and in May we went to dinner, and he came back a few more times for dinner. And then in October, we started being intimate after he told me and a friend that he was separated.
You were married as well?
I was married as well, but
you're still
did
married.
not say I was separated. No. What I did say was I was living a separate life from my wife, and I was married.
She
I never
wasn't
said
aware
I was
of that.
separated.
Were you living at home with your wife at the time?
I was living in North Las Vegas, and my wife stayed in Southern California, and out of 2 years, she only came up to Las Vegas 10 times. So we were living separate lives.
Got it.
I never stated I was separated.
Go ahead.
In October, we started being intimate, and he was living in Vegas. I'm in Northern California. He went to Italy, and he told me to email him. So I emailed him on his personal email.
Were the two of you dating exclusively
we were dating
at the time?
Yes,
okay.
at that point in time, that is correct, except through the time that we were starting to become infatuated with each other, she would either call me or text me or email me on my work number or my work email address. The text was on my personal telephone.
Why does that matter?
Because I gave that to my wife because her phone stopped working. So I gave
you weren't
her
really
my
separated.
I gave her
so your
my
wife
personal phone.
Didn't know
and while
about
I'm
her.
away, she on purpose sends an email to my personal phone, and my daughter, 26-year-old daughter, on October 26th of 2011, is trying to show her mom how to use the BlackBerry, and a message pops up from her to me.
And shame on you.
On December 21st, my wife filed for divorce. You're right. Shame on me.
Shame on
That's
you.
the mistake I made.
Shame on you.
Having an affair.
Okay, so you're blaming her for your wife divorcing you?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that is because I was married for 30 years. I did cheat on my wife, but I would not have finished that 30-year career with somebody. I would have stopped, except for Robin Kranz had sent that email knowing that my wife had the phone.
So you're not. So let me just make sure I understand this. You're blaming her because you got caught If you have an affair and your wife leaves you, that's your fault. The fact that she found out about it, your wife found out about it, that's your fault too. If you don't want to get caught, sir, don't have an affair.
I understand.
Okay?
That. You're right.
Go ahead with the case.
So our relationship obviously started on a lie and ended on one. And during this time, we moved into a home together and signed a lease agreement for 2 years. My mom passed away in April, and I inherited a small amount of money. And with that money, I loaned Jim, and he wrote it all out here, that I loaned him $3,200. Some of it was to pay back his company credit card that he had overused. So
Let me see what you're looking at.
It wasn't really a loan, Your Honor.
Well, you said loan amount. Loan amount. Yeah, it says loaned amount. By you. You wrote that.
I did write
Jim.
that.
Yeah. Ask
The
my
reason
sister.
I wrote that is because I travel 45 to 47 weeks out of the year, and if something happens to me, I had a life insurance policy of $100,000 that I asked my daughters to make sure that any money that I had borrowed from Robin Kranz got paid back to her.
There you go.
And that's why I put that.
Okay, so it was a loan, sir.
It was a loan. You borrowed it.
You keep chomping at the bit over here. Who are you? Stand up for me.
Oh my God.
Who are you?
I'm Pam Monroe.
Is it your sister?
Yes, it is.
Okay. What do you have to say?
My sister shared a lot of information. She was in distress a lot of times during this relationship. And we just want this completely done. We want him out. He's moved up to her area. He has no business being there. His life should not be up there.
I have no business being there. She brought me up there.
Oh, my
I came
gosh.
up there because I was in love with her. I have no business being there. I'm a volunteer firefighter for 2 stations. I get paid $0. My payment is the self-satisfaction that I go
You are
out
such a
and
hero.
do rescues and fires and accidents. Think what you want, Pam, but you know what?
Jim,
you should sit down because you really don't know what you're talking about.
When you volunteered, it kept you away from me, so you and I would not have to discuss what was really going on in your dark side of your life.
Coming up on Judge Faith, sometimes diamonds really aren't forever.
I would like the necklace back. I had that custom made. It's got diamonds from my wedding ring in it. I feel that she doesn't deserve it.
Wait.
And
hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Did not know they were. I think
You
they
had
belonged
a
to
diamond
Stallings.
necklace made from your wedding ring to your first wife.
And later, an auto repair gone very wrong.
How many months is it going to take you to find this engine she needs for her car?
That's the point. I'm still looking for it now.
Can you get the car fixed in this decade?
Plaintiff Robin Kranz says her ex-boyfriend's dark side ended their relationship, and now she's suing for unpaid loans. Defendant Jim Stallings says his ex is responsible for the breakup of his marriage.
You signed this document, and it says that you owe the plaintiff $6,769, which is what she is suing for. I just want to understand this because the money that you say he owes you, a half of a cost of a camping trip.
He put all of that.
Okay, and food for approximately 3 months?
In the home.
When did the two of you break up?
November 29th of 2013 is when I moved out.
Okay, how did the breakup happen? What happened?
I was just done with her lies, her enablement, and her not just being very nosy, getting into my corporate receipts and taking pictures of them and stuff. And it was like, I would get home. I travel a lot. I'm very
So she didn't trust
precise
you.
about stuff that I do.
I did not
all
trust him.
my luggage,
That
my
shouldn't come as a
everything.
surprise, ma'am.
My zippers, I put them into the center. On my suitcases, I do that. The reason is because then I don't have to know which is left and which is right. I came home one weekend.
You don't know
and
what's right and what's wrong.
Ma'am,
seriously,
have a seat, please.
Maybe
Have
you
a
should
seat.
just sit down.
Thank you.
So 2 times, my briefcase, the zipper's all the way over to one side. I never do that. And
Sir,
I did tell her that I was at my daughter's house.
I understand she was snooping.
Big
she didn't
time.
trust
Yes.
you.
There's
That's
a huge lack
kinda
of
what
trust on both
happens
sides.
when
Because
you
it
meet.
all started with a Craigslist, Jim, that I found out. So how could I not trust you after that?
What about Craigslist?
He just has other sexual preferences.
All right.
Okay, so this
I've
has
heard
gone
enough.
a little bit too far.
After
I
2012, let me ask you a question. So after October of 2012, the two of you continued to date for a year. You say you spent money on the relationship and you want to deduct that from what you say you owe on this sheet. How much do you say you owe her now?
It's down to $1,500 and something dollars. After all of the PG&E,
I have
groceries, money, cash that I had given her back, and
you
whatever
have not
else
given
is
me
on the
a
list.
dime back, Jim.
Sir,
Yes.
what's your counterclaim about?
My counterclaim is that, first off, I would like the necklace back.
What
because
necklace?
The diamond necklace that she has that I gave it to her. I had that custom made. It's got diamonds from my wedding ring in it. I feel that she doesn't deserve it.
Wait.
And
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Did not know they were. I think
You
they
had
belong
a
to his
diamond
daughter.
necklace made from your wedding ring to your first wife
yes,
for her.
yes.
Did
That's
not
how
know
much in
they
love
were.
with her I was.
I'm not giving it back, by the way.
You gave that to her as a gift, right?
Originally because I was in love with her and I thought I'd be with her the rest of my life.
What else is your counterclaim about?
I basically was forced to leave her because of all the stuff that she was doing. I couldn't take it anymore. I was done with the relationship. I didn't want to be with her anymore.
You just forced to leave everybody. Your wife, her, you just forced to leave everybody.
I had to leave and get my own place, and I had to also pay the additional 4 months on the lease that I signed. And honestly, I'm not stating that I don't owe her some money, but she has cost me $700 a month in spousal support
You are not
because
sitting on a
she
couch
made
right
sure
now.
that I was going to leave
We're done.
my
We're
wife.
done talking about it. I'm dismissing your counterclaim because you have no basis. You admit that you gave her the necklace as a gift. Frankly, the two of you live together, were on a lease together. I don't care about who paid the rent. He admits to owing you $1,586. So that is what I'm going to order you to repay her. And I'm going to tell both of you, do better and grow up.
Plaintiff Wanda King is suing her former mechanic for a refund on a car repair and the value of her vehicle. Defendant Daryl Springer says he has been having trouble finding a new engine for her car. He is accompanied in court today by his wife, Kimberly Springer.
Wanda King?
Yes, Your Honor.
You are the owner of a 2001 Ford Focus?
Yes.
And you hired the defendant to do some repairs for the car?
Yes.
Okay, why don't we start with you and tell me what happened?
Okay. Your Honor, my 2001 Ford Focus broke down one evening after reaching my home, actually. I thought about a friend who had used Mr. Springer to repair her car, so she gave me his number, and I called him, and he agreed that he would look at my car and see if he could repair it. So I had Geico to move my car to his home. A couple of days later, I went over and talked with Mr. Springer, and he said yes, he could fix it. It was my motor. And he told me $1,300. He told me I would need to have the money up front, and I agreed to that.
Okay, how long have you been in business, sir?
Well, actually, I'm not in business. I just do it for friends and family, especially with the price of things. I know it not a lot of overhead. I can give them a better price.
Geico towed the car to your home.
Yes, ma'am.
You took
Yes,
a look
Your Honor.
at it, and
Yes.
what was your analysis of the problem?
The problem with the car, it had blew a head gasket. Oil and water was mixing together, so therefore it wouldn't run. So
she needed a new engine?
She needed a new engine.
Okay, and what was the price you told her? How much would it cost her to get a new engine?
$1,230. She gave me $1,300. That's what she gave me.
What month and year is this?
This was August 2013.
How long is it going to take you to make this repair?
Actually, the first engine I purchased happened to have a blown head
Your
gasket.
Honor, he told me about 2 weeks.
So what happens next?
Okay, so
So you leave the car there. Is this your only mode of transportation?
It's my only mode of transportation. I leave the car there, and after I gave him the money, I assumed in approximately 2 weeks I would have my vehicle. That didn't happen. So I called and went over and talked to Mr. Springer, and he explained to me that he had put a motor in, and that motor wasn't any good, and he would have to take that motor back and get me another motor. So I'm still thinking 2 more weeks. Well, didn't hear from Mr. Springer. So I went over about 2 months and said, I haven't heard from you, and I need to know what's going on with my car. And he said, well, I'm going to be honest, I haven't been able to find another motor.
2 months later?
Next on Judge Faith, the engine is gone, but where's the rest of the car?
I told him I was concerned that maybe he was pawning or selling the parts of my car.
Yes,
he took me into his work area, and he said, well, this is the radiator, and this is the transmission.
Your parts are with the car.
Plaintiff Wanda King is suing her former mechanic after waiting months for him to replace her engine. Defendant Daryl Springer says he was unable to find a new motor for the car.
How were you getting around during this time?
I'm still looking for a motor.
Okay. How were you getting around?
I was forced to buy another car. Just didn't hear from Mr. Springer. And so finally I went out to his home and talked to him and said, I should be having to call you. You should be calling me.
How much time has gone by at this point?
This was after the first of the year.
It's 3 months at this point. How many months is it going to take you to find this engine she needs for her car?
That's the point. I'm still looking for it now.
It's been over a year.
Yes, the engine is hard. No joke, it's hard to find. By them making them two different type of engine, the newer type, I can find that all day.
Ma'am, would you stand up, please? Come over to the lectern. How are you?
I'm good.
Are you familiar with your husband's work as a mechanic?
Yes.
Is he a good mechanic?
Yes, he is.
Does he usually take him a year to fix cars?
This is the only one he's ever had a problem with.
What's a reasonable amount of time, sir, she should give you to find an engine for her car?
We did not have a set time, and after she had purchased the other car, I told her I'm still looking for this engine. Like I said.
How long do you plan on looking? Like, can you get the car fixed in this decade?
Yes, ma'am.
So when she comes to you after a year of you having her car, and you're not finding the engine,
right?
And she says, you know what, I appreciate all your efforts, but at this point, I just want my money back. Your answer is what?
I told her I got the money invested in the engine, so I can just...
But you don't have an engine. You don't have the engine. That's the entire problem.
Right.
Yeah, I don't trust him. I went to his home to look at my car and take pictures of my car. I told him I was concerned that maybe he was pawning or selling the parts of my car.
Yes,
he took me into his work area, and he said, well, this is the radiator, and this is the transmission. The parts are round in this. It's a pretty large.
And you brought some photos for me? Let me take a look at it.
That's not true. The parts are with the car.
So
what's not in the car? The only thing that's
Why are the tires off the car?
I have to remove the transmission with the engine. The parts are inside the car. I told her that
no parts are inside my car, not a radiator or transmission or
in the trunk. Did you look in the trunk?
And now, Judge Faith rules.
Whenever you have a contract, and this is a contract, nothing's written, it's an oral agreement, and you don't put a time frame on it, then it's my job to decide what is a reasonable time for you to have this car and to conduct the repairs that you promised Ms. King. I find that you having this car in your yard for over a year and you still haven't conducted the repairs that you promised, I find that to not be a reasonable time, sir. And when Ms. King came to you and she said, I would like for you to refund my money, really the only thing for you to do, the right thing for you to do was to do that. So I'm going to order you to return the money that she paid you to fix the car, $1,300. In addition, since you are now the new owner of a 2001 engine-less Ford Focus, I'm ordering you to pay her the value of her car, $1,272. So that's a total judgment in favor of the plaintiff, $2,572. Verdict for the plaintiff. Good luck.